So I'm gonna just show a little bit of some clips, maybe comment on it. Let's see. And I'm gonna end the stream pretty soon. Go back to this.
Been following the heartbreaking case of 18-year-old Nolan Wells, then you already know this story has taken a dramatic turn. What initially appeared to be a tragic disappearance after a 4th of July trip to Mississippi's Horn Island has now become the center of mounting public scrutiny, with the Wells family demanding answers, civil rights attorney Ben Crump joining the case, and an independent autopsy underway. For those
So even right here, just and I'm gonna unshare real quick, and I need to share something about Ben Crump. I don't know if y'all know him. He and Al Sharpton. I ain't got no comment on that. But this is the thing. These I would call them leeches. That's what they are. Leeches. They leech on just to get a buck, just to get money. These people don't care. They don't care about these parents that are grieving. I'm telling you, they don't care. And I know people are going to get mad at that comment, but I don't care. They don't care. Ben Crump. Let me share Ben Crump, Trayvon Martin, Breonna Taylor. Mm, he did a lot. It seems like he did Michael Brown, George Floyd. He's he's the brunt of all types of narrative. I want to show y'all. I know I stopped that video so early, but I want to show y'all this. I think I wanted to go to the end of this one. Hold on. And this is on. Okay.
Nation. The 18-year-old went to Horn Island with friends on July 4th and never made it home. Tonight, his parents, Christine Wansley and Elmore Wansley, and their lawyer, Mr. Ben Crump, are here to share about their fight for the truth of what happened to Nolan and also to tell us who Nolan was. Before we talk about
in America, and it was this phenomenon that we have kind of created. I call it the legacy of Trayvon Martin, where we started talking about the value of Black life, where we started talking about the lived experiences of Black mothers and Black fathers when their children are taken from them in just unbelievable ways. And so our role is to come in first as a civil rights, civil trial lawyer. The Constitution says that under the Seventh Amendment, if you feel that you have been wronged, if you have been grieved, then you have a right to not try to go fight the battles out in the streets, but to come in the court of law and say, based on the Seventh Amendment, I have a right to civil justice. What is civil justice? It's any kind of justice that will not go up to the point where you can imprison somebody, arrest somebody, take their liberty. Only the government can do that. And for far too often in America, the government has failed us in equal justice under the law. But now,
I'm sorry. I'm just not even understanding what he's saying because he's not. I'll be honest. Throughout this, the parents talked a little bit. I feel like that was most of what he said. That's why I forwarded there. But he's talking about like we can't, like, the Seventh Amendment rights of civil justice, and um he's talking about the right to a jury trial in federal civil cases. I would say, like, when I think of civil rights, let's just look up civil rights, okay? It's sorry. discrimination in public facilities, bans workplace, mandates that no person should be subject to discrimination, establishes equal application of voter registration. What does that have to do with the death of this young man? Tell me that. What does this civil rights, the right of, sorry, I'm trying to fix my hair. What does this civil rights have to do with this young man's death? He's talking about the Seventh Amendment, which guarantees the right to a jury trial in federal civil cases, disputes between private parties or businesses. What does that have to do with the murder or potential murder? I keep saying murder. Maybe he was murdered. You know, but what does that have to do with this young man's death? Please tell me, someone. Maybe I'm missing something. You don't even have all the facts. You got a picture of a bunch of white people in the pool at someone's house. We don't even know what date that was really. Can't even validate, was that the night of July 4th, between July 4th and 5th? That could have been another day that they were there and he wore the same shorts. We don't even know. He's making speculations of this case based on his own bias agenda. That's what he's doing.
Now, because after Trayvon, after Michael Brown, after Breonna Taylor, after George Floyd, Alton Sterling, Tamir Rice, Sandra Bland, Sonia Massey, Tyree Nichols. I mean, those cases, we affirm.
It's interesting. I did hear him mention Sandra Bland. I haven't heard of that one in a long time. I remember that one so vividly because it scared me. This is what they want to do. They want to instill fear in you to be afraid to do things, to be afraid to think that you do not have rights as a black person because of the color of your skin, which is a lie from the pit of hell. And the Bible says, as a man thinketh, so is he. If you think you don't have rights, then that's it. You don't have rights. Okay. But if I just feel so sorry. These parents are getting squeezed of just every ounce of possibility of really finding out what happened by this lawyer. He is even the even the George Floyd thing in the back. I'm just disgusted. Trayvon Martin, whatever. This he's on an agenda. He's on the Black Lives Matter agenda. I'm just looking to see if the Pride community comes out and starts supporting this. It's going to be a circus because they got the wrong lawyer. This tragic boy died, and this lawyer is doing it wrong. He's trying to put a narrative out there with no evidence yet. If you have evidence, show it. But don't create a narrative in the public to cause division. Okay? And people are not that smart. They're going to just fall for it. You got to have wisdom. You got to have discernment.
That Black Lives Matter, just like white lives matter. Black tears are just as painful as white tears.
I didn't know tears were colors. I thought they were just clear. And I thought we just bleed the same.
And black pain hurts just as much as white pain. And so what we try to do is do everything that a private lawyer can do under the Constitution to get some measure of justice for good people like Christine and Elmore, some measure of accountability.
Dude, what you talking about, some measure? You supposed to be going full force. We're just trying to get the scraps of it. Dude, somebody was potentially murdered, homicide, or it could have been an accidental death. And that's the thing. I'm trying to figure out if he already knows and now he's just trying to play this narrative. Where's the autopsy? I know the public autopsy, but they're supposed to also do the private. You're saying all this before any of this has resulted because you have an agenda, you have a narrative. That's what you have.
Level of truth that has often evaded us in the past. And this phenomenon, understand it now, has only been around for like the last 20 years.
Mhm.
You know, Natasha Goen, the young girl who the Asian woman shot in the head in the grocery store and they gave her probation. There was no civil action for her. You know, when you think about Emmett Till, I mean, lynched in Mississippi. There was no civil action for them. They didn't give black people any.
What and this girl, I'm just looking at the mother just agreeing with him. I feel like she mentioned earlier in this that she's Filipino and black, and but she's like, but I'm a black person. No one asked whether or not you black. No one was. I personally wasn't. I think she's a very beautiful woman. I just don't know why that came up. That she had to say, well, but I identify as a black woman. Okay, I mean, is this like, are you trying to compensate for something maybe you didn't have? And I'm not trying to talk about this lady at all. My condolences to you, but honey, this is not to do with race. This is to do with finding out really what happened with your son. Stop bringing this race into it. Find out the facts and the truth. Unless you want the drama, maybe you want the drama, you want the narrative, and this gave you the pull to do that. And I know that for a fact with this lawyer that did that. I'm 100% sure.
Kind of justice or compensation for their lives. So what we're trying to do is fight to say that Black lives matter. They don't just matter, but they are valuable too. That Nolan Wells was valuable to American society, not just to his family and to his community,
Sorry.
but was a value to America. And I keep saying Byron Allen because we talk a lot, and I know he tries to use the grill to give us a voice.
No one was saying that he's not valuable. Who said that Nolan Wells was not valuable? Again, you're creating a narrative. You're creating something that may not even be true. A false narrative, a deceitful narrative with an intention to gain traction for your agenda, not for Nolan Wells' parents. They might get something out of it, but they're not really going to get fully what they need because they got a lawyer that has an agenda and a narrative that is anti white people, they versus them, likely anti America. I'll be honest, because if you're thinking that they're all against us, who is they? We got millions of people in this world. Who is they? Are you talking about a lot of white people? Well, a lot of white people are part of America. So since you're talking about them, you must be talking about part of America. So again, I'm gonna listen to a little bit, but he is, yeah.
He tells me all the time, Attorney Crump, you should be asking for $1 billion because that's what they would ask for if it was their children. And he drills that into me. But Byron is right. There is no amount of value that you could give Christina Elmo or Natasha or Ben Crump for our children's lives.
Mhm.
And that's how we have to look at it. So that's what we try to do. We understand we can't put nobody in jail. Only the prosecutor, only the elected government officials can do that. But I'd be damned if we're not going to fight to say that our people can get some measure of justice.
Yes. I have to ask Elmore and Christina and Christine, excuse me, if you could just take a moment to address the parents of children who may know what happened to Nolan. If you could talk to them directly, what would you say?
I would say that put yourself in our position. I mean, really, put yourself in our position and tell me how you would react. You would want to, when I tell you, just me alone, like we have been going through so many Facebook messages trying to collect information. Just talk to your kid. If your child has seen something, if they took a picture and he's in it, send it in its original form so we can look at the timestamps. but don't be scared to speak up.
Okay, so what she said made sense, right? In relation to Nolan Wells' situation. That whole time, shouldn't that be something the lawyer would have said? And that's what I'm talking about. Like they can do better by themselves over this guy who doesn't give a hoot about them. I'm 100% sure he's not even looking at the camera at this point when she's trying to make a plea to the parents of the children that were there. Like, dude, I'm sorry, I just can't. And if you care so much about Black lives, Ben Crump, if you care so much about Black lives, Ben Crump, why don't you care about the lives of those Black lives that have not been born? I'll give y'all a little education. See all these people. He's talking about all Black people and all we care, we matter, we care. What about the lives of unborn babies? What about the lives of Black on Black crime in Chicago and Atlanta and New Orleans and DC and Maryland and all these high crime rate areas? They're killing each other. What about the lives of those? But let's go to let me focus on the unborn, because guess what? According to literature, published literature, women have been experienced induced abortions at a rate nearly four times of that than white women for at least 3 decades, and likely longer, it says. 4 times. 4 times as much for at least 3 decades. Black women have been murdering their babies compared to white women. And there's more literature, there's more references where that came from. What about those lives? Do they matter?